There are moments in life that split your world into two versions, the person you were before, and the person you become after the truth finally finds you. I believed I was attending an ordinary company retreat meant to celebrate another successful year. I expected laughter, team-building games, and quiet evenings around a bonfire with coworkers I had trusted for years. Instead, one single night uncovered a secret so devastating that it shattered friendships, destroyed careers, and forced me to choose between protecting my future or standing up for what was right. Looking back now, I sometimes wish I had never opened that door, because some truths change everything forever. Before we continue, if you believe kindness, honesty, and second chances still matter in this world, please take a moment to like this video, leave a comment, share it with someone who loves emotional stories, and subscribe to Kindness Corner. Your support helps bring more meaningful stories like this to life. I had worked for Greystone Solutions for almost 6 years. It wasn't just another job to me. It was where I had built friendships, celebrated promotions, and spent countless late nights helping projects succeed. My manager often described us as a family, and after investing so much of my life into the company, I believed every word. When the invitation for our annual retreat arrived, everyone was excited. A beautiful mountain resort, luxury cabins, outdoor adventures, and a weekend away from deadline sounded like the perfect reward after months of exhausting work. The first day felt exactly as promised. The fresh mountain air carried the scent of pine trees while sunlight painted golden streaks across the hills. Co-workers who normally rushed past each other in hallways were laughing over volleyball games and shared meals. For a while, it felt like we had forgotten titles, deadlines, and office politics. I even caught myself thinking how lucky I was to belong somewhere that valued people so much. That evening, after dinner, everyone gathered around a large bonfire. Stories were shared, marshmallows roasted, and music echoed softly through the trees. Yet despite the cheerful atmosphere, I noticed strange expressions passing between a few senior executives. They seemed nervous whenever anyone mentioned next year's expansion plans. Every time someone asked about upcoming promotions, the conversations changed direction almost immediately. It felt small at first, just enough to leave an uncomfortable feeling resting quietly in the back of my mind. Unable to sleep later that night, I decided to take a walk through the peaceful resort grounds. The moonlight reflected across the lake while the forest stood perfectly still. As I wandered near the conference building, I noticed lights glowing behind curtains that should have been dark. Curious, I walked closer. Voices drifted through a slightly open window. At first, I planned to leave. Then I heard my own department mentioned. What I accidentally overheard froze every step I took. The executives weren't discussing next year's opportunities. They were planning massive layoffs. Entire departments would disappear within weeks. The retreat itself wasn't a celebration at all. It had been organized to keep employees happy before the devastating announcement. Even worse, promotions already promised to hardworking staff had never been real. Those positions had secretly been assigned months earlier through personal connections. The smiles, speeches, and motivational messages had all been carefully staged while people's futures were quietly erased behind closed doors. My heart pounded so hard I thought someone inside would hear it. I stepped backward, accidentally snapping a dry branch beneath my foot. The voices suddenly stopped. Panic rushed through me as footsteps approached the door. I hid behind nearby bushes until the lights eventually turned off. When I finally returned to my cabin, sleep never came. Every memory from the past 6 years replayed differently. Every compliment suddenly sounded rehearsed. Every promise felt like another carefully crafted lie. The following morning, everyone acted as though nothing had happened. Breakfast was filled with laughter while managers congratulated employees for their dedication. Watching those smiling faces became almost unbearable because I now knew many of them would soon lose everything they had worked for. Some co-workers had recently bought homes. Others had newborn children. A few had relocated across the country believing their careers were secure. None of them had any idea that decisions about their futures had already been made. For hours I wrestled with an impossible decision. Speaking up could destroy my own career. Remaining silent would make me part of the deception. Fear whispered that one person couldn't change anything. Conscience reminded me that silence often protects the people causing harm rather than those suffering from it. That afternoon, while everyone participated in team-building exercises, I quietly gathered evidence. Public financial reports contradicted recent executive statements. Internal scheduling documents hinted at office closures. Small pieces that once seemed meaningless suddenly formed a frightening picture. By the end of the day, I realized what I had heard wasn't a misunderstanding. It was a carefully planned betrayal. After returning home from the retreat, I couldn't pretend life was normal. Every email from management felt dishonest. Every motivational meeting sounded empty. Finally, after several sleepless nights, I anonymously shared verified evidence with authorities responsible for corporate ethics and employee protection. I expected nothing more than an investigation that might quietly disappear. Instead, everything exploded. Within weeks, independent auditors arrived. Financial records were examined. Hidden communications surfaced. Several executives resigned almost immediately. News outlets reported allegations of unethical hiring practices and deliberate misinformation toward employees. The company that had proudly called itself a family suddenly stood exposed before everyone. The hardest part wasn't watching powerful people lose their positions. It was seeing the heartbreak on co-workers' faces as they realized the truth. Many felt embarrassed for trusting leadership so completely. Others blamed themselves for not noticing warning signs earlier. The office that once echoed with confidence became painfully quiet. Months later, a completely new leadership team took over. They couldn't erase the damage already done, but they chose transparency instead of false promises. Employees received honest updates, fair opportunities, and respect that had been missing for years. Not every job was saved, but every decision was finally made openly. Trust slowly returned, not because people forgot the betrayal, but because honesty replaced manipulation. I also changed in ways I never expected. I stopped believing that loyalty meant staying silent. Real loyalty sometimes means protecting people from those who abuse their trust. I learned that courage rarely feels heroic in the moment. More often, it feels lonely, frightening, and uncertain. But choosing integrity over comfort creates a future where others can finally stand without fear. If this story touched your heart or reminded you that honesty is worth defending, please like this video, share it with your friends and family, subscribe to Kindness Corner, and help us spread meaningful stories that inspire kindness and courage around the world. Special request: before this story ends, please leave a comment below and tell us, what would you have done if you had discovered the same secret that night? Would you have stayed silent or risked everything to tell the truth? As the years passed, I occasionally drove past the old resort where that retreat had taken place. From a distance, it looked exactly the same. The mountains still stood proudly beneath endless skies. The lake still reflected the stars with breathtaking beauty. Nothing in the landscape revealed the painful memories hidden there. Yet every time I saw those peaceful surroundings, I remembered that appearances can be dangerously comforting. Sometimes the brightest smiles hide the darkest intentions, and sometimes the most ordinary night becomes the turning point that changes countless lives forever. Although the truth destroyed the world I thought I knew, it also gave me something far more valuable than security. It gave me the courage to live honestly, to protect others whenever I could, and to remember that even when the truth destroys everything built on lies, it also creates the foundation for something stronger, kinder, and real.